Welcome back to McDaniel Motorsports channel. We are continuing on the wiring for the 69 Charger that we're building here. One of the last steps before we get it running. The car is mostly plumbed. I am working on the front wiring harness here, basically starting from the bulkhead, firewall forward. Right now, as you saw in the last video, if you watched it, I need to depin some wiring out of this bulkhead connector here. So basically this is one of the two bulkhead connectors that attach from the engine side of the firewall. If you watched the last video, I was struggling getting these guys depinned, and then I realized it's a different type of connector that does not have a barb. Well, it has a barb, but it's not the same type of barb as, for instance, like the rear lights have a barb on the connector. It's a different type of barb. So I'm going to get rid of this electric fan wire here because I'm going to run a mechanical fan. So I'm going to depin this guy. I struggled with this in the last segment until I realized I was the problem behind the screwdriver. But shouldn't be that big of a deal. Shouldn't is the key. I said shouldn't be the key. Should not be a docudrama about me trying to unpin this, but unfortunately it's... Yeah, let me get some needle nose pliers. I'll be right back. Of course the camera goes off when I get one out, so there's that. And I do have another one here. Headlights, park lights, high beam. Got my washer, wire. Just making sure I'm not forgetting left front turn, right front turn. Okay, so I think we're all good with this part of the harness. Yeah, I like to tidy things up. If I'm not using wires, I'll remove them and keep them. I'll wrap them up and keep them. I'm not going to throw them away. But I just don't like extra wires hanging out. It just doesn't look very clean. So I've got a water temp sender and a oil pressure temp sender wire here that need to be removed. They are same type of connector. The key here is needle nose. Basically you're just smashing the barb down on the connector just to get it to go back through there. It's not that hard, although I made it look hard. There we go. So basically you just squish the end of it. See how that guy looks right there. It normally has a space in between these two guys, so get rid of that guy, and then here, I'll show you guys how. So this is the top one here. So I'm going to go in here and basically just squeeze this connector so the barb kind of goes back. There we go. I'm sure you could reuse these connectors, but it's pretty straightforward just to spread that little barb back open and put it right back in. So I did confirm there's two unmarked wires on this portion of the harness, black and yellow, and white is coil tack. So the black and yellow are starting solenoid connections. So we'll keep those guys. Let me pull these out, these two sending wires out. Yeah, if you thin your harness down, it becomes less intimidating looking, I guess you could say, if this is a first time for you doing this wiring. It's the first time for me doing this type of car, but I have installed these harnesses before in mostly trucks, pickup trucks, not semi trucks. But what I'm getting at is you shouldn't be afraid to do this. It's really not It's not super complicated. It just takes time. And if you have the time, or if you're willing to make the time, do it. And let's see, there's the blue wire. Water temp sender. Yeah, so I'll just coil these guys up and put them back in the box, or put them in my spare wire box. But now you can see it's quite a bit more thinned out. Headlights, just making sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay. So now I can put these guys back together. These guys snap together, which is actually pretty cool. Holds them together like that. And they go the index in. Unfortunately, the way this harness is configured, this harness will support a 2-speed wiper and a 3-speed. You do have to do a I think you have to unpin or repin some wires in a different configuration, but I have a 3-speed wiper, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. But bring this harness back in here, and it gets bolted down. So it's better to put you guys over here. You see that? And it's a 3-way, or I'm sorry, a 3/8 socket on a nut driver. You can see I have my pneumatic lines for my headlight doors. It's actually a pretty cool kit I found on eBay. I actually thought I was gonna have to remake all that stuff, but this company sells it. It has all the correct stripes on the tubes and all that stuff. Not that this is an OEM type of build, but hey, where I can get originality, I'll take it. Everybody loves originality until you're on the side of the road. Yeah, and I want to keep these two harnesses separated as much as I can, because one of them is for all the headlights in the front, which I'm going to tackle in this first segment here, and the ignition feed here is going to be, hold on, dogs are going to bark. So I've got all my headlights, turn signals ready to go here. Depinned everything that I didn't want. Just gonna make this run it through the front of the core support. Yeah, it really pays to be organized when you're doing this stuff. Just things can get out of hand and overwhelming really fast, especially if you've not done this before. And I'm going through the bottom hole because it just feels right. And I'll probably put my pneumatic tubing through, well, it is already through that because it feels right as well. I do believe Dodge ran these separately, but that's all right. Can always change it. I do have to pull it back out to tape it all up after I get it all landed and make up the plugs, do all the jumpers, because there's a lot of jumping out on these lights because there's a lot of bulbs, different bulbs. But it's very straightforward, even if you've never done this. I feel like I'm becoming a a commercial for people who don't pay me. So no, I just, there's products I believe in, and I will tell you the truth, regardless of whether they pay me or not. Because you're spending your hard-earned money, you should know real world advice, real world experience with this stuff. If you call these people, they're actually pretty cool on the phone. They don't treat you like you're stupid. They're actually pretty nice people. And I don't have my clips for the inner fender here yet, so I'm just going to set up some zip ties temporarily to feed these things or hold them in place. Dumping a bunch of wires on the dog's bed. They're like, what's up? What is this? Okay. So these guys run through here. Give myself enough space. And grab some zip ties real quick. Good morning. It's another day here at McDaniel Motorsports headquarters. I am, what do you know, still doing wiring. Your favorite. Actually is my favorite, and you know, for those who don't care, I enjoy wiring, especially when it works. But once you understand what you're doing, it's actually just a lot of repetitiveness, and I'm trying to keep this video somewhat interesting. But this is going to apply to those of you who are going to be doing a new front wiring harness on your Charger, and you know, using an aftermarket harness, of course. If you have OEM harnesses, this probably isn't going to apply to you because it's most likely a different color wire to each terminal. So just, you know, look up an old wiring diagram, and that'll probably set you straight. Or keep your old wiring harness for sure. That's one I do really recommend. Even though it's thrashed, you can see how it all went together, and you can lay it out on the floor, and you can actually duplicate it that way too with your own wire. So anyway, enough of that. Let me get set up here. Again, I'm just doing the front headlights here, turn signals, high-low beams. Yeah, so it's just the front end today. Hopefully tomorrow I can wire the engine and starter and all that. But yeah, let's get going. Alright, so I've got the pre-made ground harnesses here. One of them's already plugged in, and it has a jump out for attaching the ground on one side. You can see it there. And I'm going to run that guy inside or back through the core support inside there so we don't see it in the front. But then the connector here, this gets tan, and it's got to be jumped out because it goes to every single headlight. That would be low beams, and then the light green will go to here, also gets jumped out, and that goes to high beams. So pretty straightforward, but again, there's a lot of wiring. People get overwhelmed. You just got to go one at a time. So what I'm going to do here, as you can see, I have it all kind of ran through here, and I picked the two wires that I'm going to be using at this given time and pull them over. Basically, I've got plenty of slack. As you can see, it's all, I got about 8 feet of extra slack, which is really good. You always need extra, but you want to be smart before you cut these things, and you want to really think it through, because nobody wants an extra butt connector when you don't need it. So what I'm going to do here is pull these guys back, And there is a little catch. This is like a little wiring catch right here, and I want to go behind that headlight door. I guess rub bracket. I don't know what that's called, but you know what I mean. The little headlight door tab that goes there. So I think I'm good here. I want to make sure these are loose enough. You don't want to pull them tight. You want to have some slack. And before you cut, you want to make sure that you have enough wire so it's not super tight. So it's coming out there, going to here. It's gonna be, I'm gonna cut these guys. Put my fingers on it where I'm going to cut it. Try not to lose my spot. Make sure it reaches. Man, not a great area to film. So sorry about that. It's going to go on there. So I'm going to use my dual connectors. So it just dawned on me that I want to use a relay to run my headlights. And so what you do is you use your trigger wires. So basically these are the trigger wires coming from the bulkhead or behind the dash, of course. So I'm going to cut these and just go along with wiring everything the way I would normally do it, and then I'll be using these guys to trigger the relay that'll basically send the power from the battery, more so than going through all of that wiring through the dash and all that mess. Hopefully that makes sense, but it's easier shown than said, I guess you could say. Let me do that, but you get a significant improvement in brightness in your lights when you use a relay, and in fact you have a less of a chance of burning your headlight switch up because it carries so much current through there. Sorry, I was ill prepared. The brown and the green, the light green, because it's going to feed both sides headlights. Yeah, so anyway, you could do the relay for your headlights after they're already done, just by using the trigger or the feed wire for each light to trigger your relay. And I will show you how to do that after I get these guys lined out here. There's that. So that's the, sorry, I think I said the brown was high beam. Brown is low beam. And the green is high beam. So kind of a lime green, not to be confused with dark green. Oh no, I just just realized I used the wrong connectors. Great. Yeah, these are the wider ones. Yeah, okay, well, screwed that up. So let me get the green landed here. I put the wrong connector. There's actually two different kinds here, but one of them is, it's a duplicate, but it's a lot smaller. So I just grabbed the wrong one, so I gotta redo that one real quick. Now, where's my wire? So this guy, I just had to verify my wire coding here. So just utilizing these pre-wired grounds, pigtails, which is pretty handy. Click. And click. There we go. So there's one. To this guy. I'm not going to jam these guys on all the way until I'm done here. I just like to stick them on so they're in their spot, and I have a good gauge on how long everything needs to be, and how the wire needs to be routed, of course, too. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go on the back side of these headlight door keepers, these little tab, I don't know what these are called, these things here. It's like a metal tab that is coated, and then I think when the headlight door is up, it keeps it from flopping. I don't know, maybe someone knows in the comments. But yeah, this is kind of a tricky angle here, so forgive me for the crappy camera work. Jump that again. It's a real hassle, or art, I guess you could say. Is running wires is like an art. You really have to stay diligent. Things get out of hand so quickly, and then you just hate it. At least I do. Sometimes I just can't seem to get it right. So now I gotta make another jumper here, and I have to jump the ground, high and low beams for these. I'm sorry, it would be just the high beams. Yeah, that's my story. Give me a second.